Your eye color isn't just aesthetic. It's an ancient hardware setting evolution chose for your ancestors. Brown gave up night vision for daytime reaction speed. Blue sacrificed UV protection for low-light survival. And green, biologically, it shouldn't even exist. So in this video, instead of just listing each eye color, I've ranked them. But fair warning, number 1 isn't there because it's rare. It's there because it's most biologically perfect. I bet you wouldn't guess which one it is. Number 8, violet and red, the unshielded. Violet and red eyes are not a pigment. They are an absence of one. In individuals with albinism, the iris carries essentially no melanin, and the color observers see is produced by light reflecting off the blood vessels behind the eye itself. The pink or violet tint you're seeing is literally vascular. Now, every hardware setting has its bugs. I call this the survival fine print, aka the disadvantages. Without melanin to act as a filter, these eyes are acutely sensitive to UV radiation, to brightness, and to nearly every environmental light condition. Daytime functioning in open environments is genuinely painful. The risk of long-term UV-related eye damage and skin cancer is among the highest of any eye color measured. The evolutionary paradox is this: albinism has persisted in human populations across thousands of years despite its disadvantages, which suggests that somewhere in the genetic mosaic, this mutation is anchored by factors we don't yet fully understand. Socially, violet and red-eyed individuals are perceived as otherworldly, striking, unforgettable, historically associated with supernatural status in various cultures. That is, at a minimum, a social survival mechanism. But on pure biological efficiency, this is the bottom of the list. Coming up next, an eye color that only 1% of the population carries, and which some researchers believe may actually have the strongest night vision of any color on this list. Number 7. Gray, the adaptive generalist. Gray eyes are held by approximately 1% of the global population, the rarest naturally occurring eye color on this list, and they are, in many ways, a more structurally sophisticated version of blue. The gray color is not produced primarily by pigment. It comes from an unusually high concentration of collagen fibers in the stroma, which scatter light differently than standard blue eyes. The result is an eye that shifts appearance based on ambient lighting, sometimes appearing blue, sometimes silver, sometimes nearly green. Some researchers suggest gray eyes may contain less melanin than even blue eyes, which would make their low light sensitivity among the highest of any eye color measured. The collagen density appears to moderate the UV vulnerability that typically accompanies such low melanin levels, giving gray-eyed individuals something close to the best combination of light sensitivity and relative durability available in a low melanin eye. Socially, gray eyes are rated consistently as sophisticated and emotionally balanced. People report finding gray eyes harder to read, a subtle negotiation advantage that is well documented in behavioral research. Now back to the survival fine print. Elevated lifetime risk of ocular melanoma, higher skin cancer risk, and significant UV sensitivity. The same structural depth that produces their unusual appearance also leaves them relatively exposed to harsh light conditions. But if gray is a master of light scattering, our next color is a master of deception. It contains zero pigment of its own, yet it looks unmistakably green. Number 6. Green, the evolutionary miracle. Green eyes are, biologically speaking, a paradox. There is no green pigment in a green eye. None. The color is produced by a combination of low melanin levels, which create blue tones through light scattering, and lipochrome, the yellow pigment. The blue and yellow interact through light physics to produce the appearance of green. It is a structural illusion created by layered optical effects, making green one of the most biologically complex eye colors that exists. That complexity is rare. At approximately 2% of the global population, green eyes occupy a very specific evolutionary niche: moderate UV protection, moderate low-light sensitivity, balanced between the extremes. Not the best sunlight eye, not the best night vision eye, but highly functional across a broad spectrum of environments, and rarer for it. Socially, green eyes have ranked consistently as the most visually attractive eye color in multiple large-scale international surveys. The rarity drives the perception. What's less discussed is the psychological tax. Green-eyed individuals are more frequently labeled as mischievous, unpredictable, or untrustworthy, particularly in cultures where the color is uncommon. Striking can cut both ways. The survival fine print, greater light sensitivity than brown, higher risk of ocular melanoma, and due to lower systemic melanin, elevated skin cancer risk. Coming up, the only eye color on this list that humans share with wolves, eagles, and birds of prey. Number 5. Amber, the wolf's eye. Amber eyes occur in around 5% of the population and carry a higher proportion of pheomelanin, a reddish-yellow pigment more commonly associated with animal eyes than human ones. It is the only eye color in humans that is genuinely common in other species. Wolves, wolves, eagles, and many birds of prey. That is not coincidence. The pheomelanin creates a uniquely efficient filter for high-glare environments. Bright plains, open water, and snow-reflected light. Movement detection under these conditions is sharper with amber eyes than with most other colors. Evolutionary researchers believe this is because the golden pigment filters specific wavelengths that would otherwise wash out contrast in bright, open-sky landscapes. Amber-eyed people are, quite literally, built for hunting. If you were dropped into a high-glare desert or a snowy tundra with nothing but your vision to survive, this is the hardware you'd pray for. Socially, amber eyes trigger an instinctive predator recognition response in observers. Studies on social perception find amber-eyed individuals are more frequently read as intense or aggressive before any interaction occurs. In modern contexts, that translates to commanding presence, but also to being frequently misread. The survival fine print. Reduced melanin means elevated UV sensitivity, and some studies link lighter eye colors broadly to higher cataract risk over time. Next up, the eye color that may be the most underrated on this entire list. It came from a single genetic mutation between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago, and the study it inspired became the subject of medical research. Number 4. Blue, the winter survivor. Blue eyes emerged from a single genetic mutation between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago. Every blue-eyed person on the planet is descended from one individual, and that mutation took hold in Northern Europe for one reason: survival. If you have blue eyes, every single person on Earth with your eye color is technically your distant cousin. You are part of one of the most successful genetic glitches in history. In high-latitude environments with long, dark winters, lower melanin density in the iris allows more scattered light to enter the eye, making blue-eyed individuals meaningfully more sensitive to low-light conditions. Where tracking prey through long nights meant eating or starving, that trade-off was worth it. But here is where the hardware gets weird. A study actually found that blue-eyed women reported significantly higher pain tolerance than dark-eyed women, particularly in childbirth. The proposed mechanism connects back to melanin, the same gene clusters regulating eye. Pigment appear to interact with pain receptor pathways. Socially, blue eyes carry a complicated profile, associated with intelligence and competence in Western cultures, but also coldness and emotional detachment. The label Evolution, assigned brilliant but unreadable. The survival fine print, highly photosensitive. Elevated lifetime risk of ocular melanoma and higher skin cancer risk due to lower systemic melanin. The aperture that helps in the dark makes harsh sunlight genuinely painful. Coming up, the all-terrain eye color combines advantages from multiple categories, and the reason it appears to change color isn't magic. It's optics. Number 3. Hazel, the all-terrain chameleon. Hazel eyes are architecturally unique. They contain both melanin and lipochrome, the yellow pigment distributed in uneven, patchy concentrations across the iris. The result is an eye that combines Rayleigh light scattering with selective melanin absorption, giving hazel eyes moderate glare protection and moderate low-light sensitivity simultaneously. This is why hazel eyes appear to change color. They're not actually changing. What's happening is that different lighting conditions and pupil sizes alter which pigment layer is most visible. It's not magic, it's structural optics. But the functional outcome is genuinely useful. Hazel-eyed individuals adapt better across a wider range of lighting environments than any single pigment eye color. Socially, the perception of hazel eyes skews toward approachability and spontaneity. They escape the dominant label assigned to brown eyes and the cold label assigned to blue, which means hazel-eyed people often read as the most socially neutral option in any room. That is a strategic advantage. The survival fine print, increased glare sensitivity in direct sunlight, and a slightly elevated risk of age-related macular degeneration over a lifetime. The all-terrain advantage comes at the cost of being optimized for neither extreme. 2 colors left. Number 2 technically shouldn't exist in this form. It's a condition that can develop after birth, and in its rarest version, it may be the most biologically complete eye configuration on the list. Number 2. Heterochromia, the genetic wildcard. Heterochromia, which means having 2 different eye colors, occupies a unique category on this list for one reason. It is the only eye color configuration you can actually acquire after birth, through trauma, disease, or medication. Every other color on this list is assigned before you take your first breath, but the version that earns its place this high on the efficiency ranking is complete heterochromia between a dark eye and a light eye, specifically a brown or black eye paired with a blue or gray eye. The logical implication is remarkable. One eye optimized for daytime contrast and reaction speed, the other for low light sensitivity. Whether the brain actually integrates both advantages or simply averages them remains an open and genuinely fascinating question in vision research. But the theoretical hardware configuration is the most complete on this list. Socially, heterochromia creates what psychologists call cognitive dissonance in observers. The result default is that heterochromic individuals are almost universally described as unforgettable, which in social and professional life is rarely a disadvantage. The survival. Fine print, heterochromia can occasionally be a sign of underlying medical conditions, so it's worth having checked by a professional. But most cases are entirely benign. The primary limitation is that the advantages are contingent on having the right combination, and that's not guaranteed. Which brings us to number 1, the eye color that carries every single health and protective advantage of the dark eye spectrum, but pushed to the absolute maximum. But before that, drop your color in the comments now. I want to see how many of you are running the elite hardware we're about to reveal at number 1, because while most think it's the default, the science says it's actually the peak. Number 1, brown and near black, the original hardware. Roughly 70 to 80% of the global population has brown eyes. And if that's you, hear this clearly. You are not the default. You are the elite. Brown eyes carry the highest concentration of melanin in the iris, and melanin in this context functions like the lens coating on an expensive camera. It absorbs scattered light before it creates visual noise, which means your brain is working with a cleaner, more contrast-rich image of the world than lighter-eyed people. Studies have found that dark-eyed athletes consistently outperform lighter-eyed athletes in reactive, high-speed tasks, hitting a baseball, returning a serve, landing a counterpunch. The theory is straightforward. Less optical scatter means faster, more precise visual processing. Evolutionarily, brown eyes emerged first. Every other eye color on this list is essentially a mutation from brown. Brown is the original hardware, and it turns out the original hardware is well built. The near black variant, eyes so dark they appear black, though technically no purely black iris exists, takes every advantage of brown and amplifies it. Maximum UV protection, the lowest rates of ocular melanoma, age-related macular degeneration, and UV-related eye disease of any color measured, lower skin cancer risk due to high systemic melanin. This is the hardware running at its highest specification. Socially, psychology studies have found that people with brown eyes are consistently rated as more trustworthy and emotionally warm by strangers. That's a powerful social currency. Brown-eyed people walk into rooms with a preloaded advantage and trust before they've said a single word. The survival fine print, night vision is the weakest of any eye color on this list. High melanin absorbs a lot of light, which creates a measurable disadvantage in low-light conditions. There is also a slightly elevated statistical risk of cataracts. That is the entire trade. A minor night vision deficit in exchange for superior daytime. Daytime reaction speed, a low disease risk profile, and the social advantage of being read as the most trustworthy person in the room. Not a bad deal. Your eye color is not a random cosmetic detail. It is a biological inheritance, a set of decisions evolution made about how your ancestors needed to interface with their environment. Some of those decisions still serve you directly. Some create friction in the modern world, but all of them are telling you something about where your hardware came from and what it was built to do. The lens through which you see everything was engineered, and now you know. But eye color isn't the only glitch in your DNA. Watch this next video on the screen to see more.